The part that people screw up is they think that staying in front of them is asking for a sale every time. We're told in the marketing world, every communication should have a call to action. I don't disagree with that. The problem is most people's action is buy my stuff.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it doesn't have to be. It could be, hey, check out this book that I found useful. Or, hey, check out this video I saw on YouTube. It's not a pitch. I'm not asking you to whip out a credit card,
Yeah.
but I'm still asking you to take an action. And that's the difference. That's the reason why so many people screw this up, is because they think call to action means click to buy something. And it doesn't most of the time. Not if you do it right.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Reanimated Stories. This is Roger Jones with Reanimation Design, and today I have someone that I'm really excited to chat with is Ely Delaney, and he is, as his background says, if you're watching this, it says meet cool people, and he is a cool person, and I'm so excited to chat with Ely. Ely, welcome. Thank you so much for coming today.
Thanks for inviting me to come hang out, my friend.
Yeah, I am really excited. Ely and I have known each other through SEN and just through networking, and we were able to chat. I think over the past year, we've known. Well, actually, I think we've known each other a little bit over a year. And it was funny too because at the summit for SEN, we were like, all right, well, hey, let's go have dinner. It was like the first or second night. We're like, hey, let's go have dinner. So we waited around, got a couple people, got more people, and then more people came. And then
We took
Eli and
over
I
the restaurant.
yeah, we took over the restaurant. Eli and I, we got to the restaurant, didn't even sit next to each other. There were so many people there. So it was a lot of fun. But Eli, it is so great to have you today. So Eli, why don't you go ahead and just start telling us what is it that you do?
Well, that's going to depend on the day of the week, but from a business standpoint, I am a email marketing strategist and email ghostwriter. So basically, if clients come to me to help them with their email follow-up processes. Now, this is for your existing list, not cold outreach. I don't do that. Yes, I can write for it, but I don't I don't man any of that kind of stuff. But most people have connections. They have prospects, they have their clients, they have their vendors, but they don't really know how to be strategic in how they follow up with them. And number one thing, especially with prospects, they have one of two camps goes into play. They don't want to over bother people. They don't want to be an annoying pest, so they don't email enough. Or on the flip side, they've got the old school pain in the rear internet marketing concept where they're pitching every other day, and every conversation has sales conversation with it. And there's a happy place in the middle. And that's what I help clients do, is put that where you're consistently in front of your people. You're staying in touch, again, primarily using email marketing, having real conversations with real people. So when they are ready to buy, you are the first person they think of, and they actually know, like, and trust you. So that's me in a nutshell.
Yeah, no, and it's, you say like, well, they're either one or they're either always pushing or it's just like, well, I don't want to bother them. And you really
Exactly.
find that, yeah, you always find that middle ground. And what's great about all of that is that you're not just one of those that it's funny when it comes to talking to marketers, whether they're social media, video, whatever it is, they're like websites, right? They're like, you go to their website, you go to their, and unless they have like a team behind them, it's like kind of it, like it's like, oh, you haven't updated your website in a while. Well, that's because I'm working on other people's websites, right? Marketers are like the
Yeah.
worst updating
Oh, yeah.
theirs. But what I
Always.
love about yours is that you actually put into practice what it is that you're doing. So even if somebody is not doing email marketing on either side, they're going to see if they know you and they're following you, they're going to see that every day. I see it on your Facebook, I get your emails, and
Yep.
you put that into practice. And so that is really fantastic. Could you tell us a little bit more? Because you talked about this extreme. Okay, I'm going to like every day and it's going to be nothing but, pitching every day. Or it's,
Mhm.
well, maybe like, maybe for like Easter, Christmas, right?
Right. Yeah.
Halloween or something like that. Can you talk to us about that middle
Okay.
ground?
Yeah, by the way, Halloween's a great holiday to use as a marketing excuse, just so you know.
Yeah.
That is one of the very few times that I normally will do a promotion. I didn't this year because I was busy, but a lot of times Halloween and my birthday are like the 2 major promos that I do.
Oh,
But
that's
yeah, and you find some fun ones. Don't do Black Friday sales. Everybody's doing a Black Friday
yeah.
sale. But the reality is if you can find that sweet spot. And for me, what I do, and this is I built this for myself. So the fact that you said, you get my emails, you see what I'm doing. I'm actually practicing this stuff. I built
100%.
this system back in 2013 and it has worked ever since. So
Yeah.
everything that I talk about is about how do you build it and put it into an automation as much as possible so you don't drop the ball, you don't forget. But the
Mhm.
reality is, if you do it right, it'll last you forever. And
Mm.
the biggest thing that I do is when I work with my clients and even for myself, I'm thinking about how can I add value to their lives? How can I share something that I know is going to help them, regardless if it has anything to do with me? And so I work in the B2B space. My clients obviously are business owners, and most of my clients are in that B2B space too. So for me, that's really easy because we're all into personal development and marketing stuff and how to become a better leader and all these different things that are topics within business that we can share, and I have 30 years experience that I can share, whether it be personal stories, books that I've read, videos I've watched. There's a bunch of TED Talks I like to share out, tips, tricks, resources, things like that. Some of them have to do with my stuff. Sometimes, hey, if you're doing website stuff and you got a WordPress plugin that you need, here's one that I like for XYZ reason,
Mm.
things like that that are just I know that they're gonna get some value out of it, and the goal with it is, how do you stay in front of them on a consistent basis? And when I say consistent, I mean roughly weekly. Now, and I'll talk about the why I say roughly weekly in a second, but you wanna stay in front because if you're touching base with somebody in less than once a month, they're gonna forget about you. We get bombarded so much, you have to stay in front of them. The part that people screw up is they think that staying in front of them is asking for a sale every time. We're told in the marketing world, every communication should have a call to action. I don't disagree with that. The problem is most people's action is buy my stuff.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it doesn't have to be. It could be, "Hey, check out this book that I found useful," or, "Hey, check out this video I saw on YouTube that might help you with XYZ," whatever it is. "Hey, I just saw this thing," or, "Here's something that I'm doing in my business that's been really helpful. Give it a try. Let me know what you think." The "let me know what you think" is a call to action. It's not a pitch. I'm not asking you to whip out a credit card.
Yeah.
But I'm still asking you to take an action. And that's the difference. That's the reason why so many people screw this up is because they think call to action means click to buy something. And it doesn't most of the time. Not if you do it right.
Yeah, no, that is, what you just said right there, the call to action. It doesn't have to be call to action doesn't have to be buy now, schedule a
Mhm.
call, book, it doesn't have to be pull out your
Right.
credit card. I've done that even in my emails, and it's one of those things where no one's gonna really say anything, right? But I've done it a few times where
Mhm.
I've said, "Hey, tell me what you think of this," or, I'll ask a question and people will actually respond back. And I
Right.
said, "Oh, whoa, cool. People will actually, I was like, if anybody's reading it, cool, but they're probably not going to take the time." But I've had a few people that have reached out to
Mhm.
me and, said, "Hey, this is what I thought about this," or "Hey, I loved that you said this. This is something that," and I said, "Oh, that's so cool." And that's really gotten me into the mindset of, just having the continuing that conversation. And yeah,
Exactly.
I think that's such a crucial thing, like what you were saying.
Yeah. People are so shocked by the fact that it's like, you mean if I ask a question, people will reply and we'll actually have like a real conversation?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
it's like, well, yeah.
Yeah.
It really I mean, that's everything that I teach and everything that I work with my clients on, that's what it's all about, and it's so funny
Yeah.
because it's such a simple concept, but very few people get it. I mean, I'm saying like
Yeah.
90 plus percent of the people out there don't get it, they don't understand it, and they don't even believe that it works until
Yeah.
they experience it directly. Like, I've had times where I'm like, "Hey, take this email, go send it out." And they're like, "Why? I don't understand." Because I'll give them a basic script and there's like no sales pitch in there. They're like, "Okay, I don't know." And I'm like, "Just trust me, go send the silly thing." And they send it and they come back like, "Eli, I cannot believe it. I've had more responses to this one email than anything I've done combined."
Wow.
Like, "Well, yeah, because
Yeah.
you started a conversation." Oh, and by the
Yes.
way, conversations lead to sales.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's that conversation that builds that relationship that's leading to that. And,
Yeah.
speaking of the relationships and the conversation, sometimes I'll see people post, whether it's on Facebook or LinkedIn or
Mhm.
something, they'll say, "Hey, what's your, what marketing strategy have you found that really works the best?" And every time I see those, I love seeing those because everybody's like, "Well, it's like posting, it's this
Mhm.
email thing, it's doing this," and I just go in and everybody's got this long thing, and I'll just type build relationships, and I'll just leave it at that. And I just don't even
Yep.
I don't give them anything
Yep.
else, just build relationships. And so I've started to do that a little bit more just to kind
Yeah.
of, kind of be disruptive in a way, but just because everybody's got these like, oh, you gotta have a list and you gotta have 14 different posts in one day, spaced out every 25 minutes. And it's like, all right, or you
They're
could
they're
start a
yeah.
conversation. Yeah.
Start a conversation, I know. Now, one thing that I would say with that too is I would mix it up. So sometimes do the short and sweet like that, which is great. And I
Yeah.
love that response, by the way. But sometimes go through and expand on that like a real conversation
Oh,
piece. It's
yeah.
like, you know what?
Yeah.
Here's what I found works the best for me is we start the conversation. I see a post like this. I'm not going to just respond with me pitching my stuff because we all know that's what most people end up doing at the end of the day.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
what I want to do is I want to start a real conversation with you. So I'm going to give you a little bit more details. And here's a couple of things that I think about before I respond. Something like that. So you're giving them a
Yeah.
bit more real data. And what ends up happening if somebody's got a true question. Now, there's a difference between a post that they put out there purely to get engagement, which is what
Yeah.
a lot of stuff is. But
Oh,
if
yeah.
somebody's asking a genuine question and you take the time to thoroughly answer with no pitch, you will shock people. And the
Yeah.
pitch could be, "Hey, hopefully this was helpful. If you've got more questions, reach out, shoot me a DM, and I'll be happy to jump on a Zoom with you."
Yeah.
I had a client I did that with years ago. He was posting about a CRM system he was thinking about signing up with. And of course, a whole bunch of people are resellers for the platforms. They're all pitching.
Oh,
It's like,
yeah.
"Hey, oh, this is awesome. It's the best thing since sliced bread. If you use my link, you're gonna get these extra bonuses, blah, blah, blah," all that kind of garbage. And then there's some
Oh,
people that
yeah.
said, "It's complete garbage, horrible, don't ever touch it." And this was the response, like one side or the other.
Yeah.
And I went in and said, "Okay, so, I've been using this platform for X number of years," which had been a lot of years. "Here's a couple of things that I would recommend. Here's why I love it. Here's the things I don't like about it. And here's the things you need to know before you jump into it." And I took, 5 minutes to
Yeah.
put this together and I put it out there. And he responded back, "Thank you so much." And about a week later, oh, and I ended it with, if hopefully this is helpful. If you have any other questions, feel free to message me. I'd be happy to jump on a Zoom with you. And about a week later, I get an email from him. He's like, "Hey, Eli, I want to thank you so much for that comment. And, you really gave me a lot of information. By the way, you were the only one that actually helped. Everybody else was just
It's
lame,
awesome.
lame answers. Are you still good with me jumping on that call with you?" It's like, "Absolutely. Here's my link." So we ended up getting on a call. We scheduled a call. We ended up getting on the call. We went through some stuff, and he ended up becoming a client of mine for I think 5 years.
Oh, wow.
Purely because
Just
I took the time to give him a thorough, truthful, objective answer. I gave
yeah.
him the positives and the negatives. I did not try to pitch him on it.
Yeah.
And he ended up, like I said, I think it was like 5 years, he was a client of ours.
That's so cool. And it's like that's the power of a conversation of not
Yeah.
just being like, yeah, I mean, anytime you see it, I always like look at the comment, when someone's just like, "Oh, you should do this." And I'm always
Mhm.
like, "All right, here we go." If it's a negative comment, I'm like, "All right, what are they going to try to pitch at the end of it?" Or if they're like, "Oh, this is the best thing," what are they going to pitch? And I think people forget, just like what you just said, have that conversation, be objective. And I think it's just always so much of that. Well, let's sell, sell, sell right there in the
Mhm.
comment. I had a client, I had a, say, I can't remember if they turned into a client or not, but I had something similar like that where I said, "Hey, I'd love to chat with you about that." And I sent them like a direct message. I said, "Hey, I saw this on there. If you want any more information, I'd love to chat with you about it, just so I can point you in the right direction if you're curious." And they're like, "Oh yeah, great." So we just chatted back and forth, and I was able to connect them because now that I remember, they needed something else, and I was able to connect
Yep.
them to to somebody else because we were
Right.
having a conversation and not just like, "Oh yeah," like I wasn't trying to fit, what is it, a square peg into a round hole. I was like, "Oh
Right.
no, you should go chat with somebody else because I know that they have what it is that you're looking for." And it was really great to have that conversation.
Yeah, and see, that's the best thing about all of this stuff is when you come from a place of conversation,
Yeah.
what ends up happening with it is if you're gonna put them off on somebody else saying, "Okay, you know what? I don't think I'm necessarily the right fit, but I know who would be. I would love to
Yeah.
introduce you," and you make that connection, you know that person is gonna remember that, and that when they do need what you have, they're gonna come back to you, no questions asked,
Yes.
and chances are, even if they don't come back to you because they need you, they're going to connect you with other people. They're gonna bring your name up. It's like, "Hey, you need to talk to Roger. He's, like, really helpful in this stuff." And best thing is, he had a great conversation with me, and he purposely didn't try to pitch me because he didn't think it was a good fit. I mean, he will be honest with you. That goes so much further than anything else.
Yeah. It really does. And it's so incredible just to kind of see how thinking through a conversation rather than, okay, I have 30 seconds. Let me try to pitch them. And so, having that conversation, it leads to so many because you're out at an in-person networking event. You're out looking at comments on LinkedIn, Facebook, wherever, and you're having those conversations. And those conversations, yeah, they're going to probably take a little longer instead of just being like, buy my stuff right now, and you're having that conversation because ultimately it's like maybe that's going to lead to something more, that's going to lead to something more, that's going to lead to something more, that's going to lead to something more. And I think that's just a really fantastic and cool thing to have. So Eli, so not only are you doing the email marketing, but what got you into doing this? So, that's not necessarily a route that people think, right? Because it's like, well, I just want to get this done quickly. How did you get into that? And what is the phrase that you always use about your email marketing? Like how you can keep selling until, like even after you're dead and all that. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So what got me into it was I started off my first company was a web and graphic design agency. I don't know if you and I had talked about that or not.
Yeah. Yeah. You had
And I
mentioned it.
grew that from myself out of my dining room to an office. I had 5 employees. We're closing 3 to 5 contracts a week, killing it. And then I realized I don't like going to an office and I really don't like my employees either. So I burnt the whole thing down, started over. And I have to more recently, I've had to like add a little caveat to that. Yes, the employees were not in the building when I burned it down. But you know, but what happened was when I started getting out of that, I got into teaching marketing because I actually really love that. And I was doing it as part of that other business because clients
Mm,
would be like, okay, I got my logo, I got my website, I got my business cards, or brochures, all the stuff. And they're like, now what do I do? And so I
yeah.
started teaching them basic marketing 101 stuff. And I really actually started doing classes and fell in love with it. So I grew that. But what ended up happening was, and I talk about this like I'd have 100 people in the room as a speaker because I just started teaching this stuff. So I'm speaking in front of groups and I might have 100 people in the room and I got 10 of them that are like, all right, I need your help. Here's my credit card. Let's do this. And hey, I didn't realize 10% of a room was a good close rate. I thought that sucked. I mean, I
Oh,
literally like,
wow.
okay,
Yeah.
90 people just walked out the door. This sucks. I'm horrible at what I do. And so I started developing a follow-up process because I'm like, okay, what can I do to get more of these people? Because there's 90 people that walked away. 10
Yeah.
is cool. Well, what about them? And
Yeah.
so I started building follow-up processes. And this was before we had QR codes, mobile websites, any of that kind of stuff. I literally had a piece of paper that they filled out
Oh,
and I was
wow.
like, "Hey, I have this cool free thing I wanna give you if you fill out the form and give it back to me." That's how I grew my list originally.
Oh, wow. That's
And what
awesome.
I would do is I'd start following up with people. And so I've been doing that as a lead generation strategy for over 20 years now.
Oh, wow.
And I mean, nowadays we have QR codes and online forms and
Yeah.
all that stuff, so we don't have to retype all that garbage because that part sucked. But now that's how I got started with it, but what I would do is I'd start building these follow-up campaigns to make sure I stayed top of mind with people, and it worked. I was taking a 10% close rate, and I might close an additional 10 to 20% after the fact.
Oh, wow.
They might be a week or 2, they might be 3 months, they might be 6 months, sometimes even a year. But if I can double or triple the rate, even though it
Yeah,
takes longer by just sending a couple of emails, you bet I'm gonna do that all day long. And so that's how it all
definitely.
started. And in 2013, I actually built a system because I ended up in the hospital
Oh,
with a blood clot going to my kidney. I don't recommend
oh,
it. It
wow.
hurts like hell. Not a fun
Nope.
experience.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's when I found out that morphine lasts exactly 18 minutes on me, which was no fun at all. And I realized like I had to shut my whole business down and my business just stopped at
Oh,
that point. Like
wow.
no sales
Oh,
coming in
wow.
whatsoever. And I was like, okay, I gotta fix this. And so I started
Mm.
building much more automated, much more intentional with this process. So I built this campaign that eventually ended up being over 3 years long. And it's
Wow.
the beauty of it is this is 100% evergreen, 100% automated. It just works day in, day out. I don't touch it. I touch it once a year. Probably it takes me about a
Oh,
half a
that's so
year or
cool.
half a day a year where I just go through an audit and I'll replace things. We're at that point where I need to go through and update some things now. But otherwise, it's just on autopilot. It just works. And so everybody comes into my system, goes into that. So yeah, my running joke with people is I could go outside and get hit by a bus today and still sell you stuff for 3 more years. But the beauty of it is it's not selling all the time. It's all about
Yeah.
building the conversation and how can I add value to other people's lives. I had one guy who it was I remember the dates. It was September 16th of 2020. He replies to one of my emails and says, "Hey Eli, I've been on your list for a few years now and I want to thank you for everything you've done for me. You've really helped my business. My son's starting a construction company. I was wondering if you can help us with some marketing stuff." So I'm like, absolutely. Let's have a talk. Let's get on a call, blah, blah, blah. But then I look at my CRM, my database. It's like, okay, what does a couple years mean? He had actually seen me speak in Scottsdale, Arizona at a SCORE event. And if you don't know what SCORE is, it's a Service Corps of Retired Executives. They're
Yeah.
basically the guys who retire from corporate things. They stay home, play golf. Then their wives say, okay, you're driving me nuts. Get out of here. So they go volunteer to help new businesses. And I used to be an instructor for them and teach classes.
Oh, cool. Okay.
He's seen me teach a SCORE class July 3rd, 2010.
Oh my gosh.
10
Wow.
years, 3 months later, he is coming back to
Yeah.
me to refer his son's business to me.
Wow.
That's what we're talking about. That's the power
That
of
is
this stuff.
incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's my longest standing one, but I've got
Yeah.
tons of those type of things where people have come back to me there because of a book I recommended, and they were like, "Hey, Eli, I wanna thank you so much. I really appreciate the book recommendation." I had one gal that she got the one of the books. It was the Mendino, The Greatest Salesman in the World, which is a great book. I
Okay.
highly recommend it. Really short, easy read. It's something you can read in a couple hours, and it's all talks about mindset stuff around sales, right? She had got this. She sends me this email on Monday, and she says, "Hey, Eli, I got your email on Thursday, and I want to tell you, I've really been struggling in my business, and I was about ready just to throw in the towel and go get a job.
Mm.
And I got your email. I decided to buy the book, so I bought it on Friday. I read it over the weekend. Now I understand what I've been thinking wrong, and
That's so cool.
I'm ready to rock and roll. You just saved my business."
It's
And
awesome.
just like, I mean, that's like goosebumps, right?
Yeah, seriously.
But here's the kicker with it. I wrote that book 6 years earlier.
Oh, wow.
I wrote or not the book, I wrote the email
The
6
email,
years earlier.
yeah.
Yeah. I I had built that into the system 6 years prior to that,
Yeah.
and it still helped her.
Yeah.
And so you never know when somebody is going to need the thing that you have,
Yeah.
and whatever that resource is, whether it's your stuff or somebody else's. So if you can turn around and say, okay, here's something that helped me at some point in my life, it might help you too. Here's what it is. Here's why I like it so much. And you put that kind of stuff out on a consistent basis, people will remember and people will start paying attention. And the beauty of it is there's these guys out there, especially people that are like they love texting. I'm not a big fan of texting. I think texting should be reserved for, hey, I'm running 5 minutes late. But I'm a big fan of using right medium for what it's supposed to be. And there's people out there that pitch, hey, email marketing is dead.
Mm,
Somebody's like, dude, do people even open emails anymore? I was like, well, if you do it right, yes, they do.
yeah,
And my response to most of those guys like, email's dead. I'm like, no, email's not dead. Your emails just suck, dude.
yeah,
Write better
yeah,
emails because you can get better open rates. People will read them. People will appreciate them. People will reply to them if you give them value. But if you're
yeah,
just pitching, I'm just giving garbage, they're not going to respond. Your open
yeah,
rates are going to crash.
yeah.
And so that's what all of this is about. Change the conversation with people. So now they want to get your email. They know there's value in it. And that's
That's
what changes everything.
so the cool thing about what you said really quick about the 10 years and how you said, okay, you talked to 100 people, 10 of them were like immediately, "Hey, awesome, let's
Mm,
talk." 90 of them walked out, but, you know, then all of a sudden you swap that and said, "Hey, everybody, sign up or, let me give you something." And so you got them on, and then you closed an additional 10 to 20%, which some people are like, "Oh, okay, cool." So you have like a 10%, 10 to 20% close rate, but it's like you got to stop and think about that for a second. You closed on the spot, we'll say 10% at that
right.
event, then later close another, we'll just say, just to be conservative, 10%. So
Yeah.
from that one event, that's like two separate things in the sense that like, okay, it didn't happen there at the event, but that's still one event. So instead of having a 10% close rate at the event, you now have a 20, maybe 30 or like higher from that event. And that is
Yep.
really that's really cool because that's how, you want to think about it. It's like, well, you want to have a higher close rate, even if it takes, like you said, 10 years or even a year afterwards,
Yeah.
like that's incredible. And that's also super cool that you wrote an email, what would you say, 6 years ago?
Mhm.
And it's still,
6 years
yeah, it's
prior.
still
Yeah.
resonant. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so cool. That is so
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
Well, thank you. And that's the fun part about it. And that's where the power of this really comes into play because let's say, like for me as a speaker, if I'm speaking once a month, then and I get a 10% close rate. So let's just say 10 people, one person. We're just going to
Yeah.
keep math simple.
Yeah.
I got one person, that's one sale a month. Okay.
Yeah.
But if I can convert, if I can double that because of down the road,
Mm,
now I've just literally doubled my income
yeah.
because instead of one sale, I got two sales. The second sale might come down the road, but within 12 months, I'm more likely to have that happen. And it
Yeah.
just keeps compounding. The more you get into it, the more people you feed into the system when you start doing that, and you have the proper follow up system, the machine, I like to call it the machine, it's your follow up machine. When you have
Yeah.
that built out, it just keeps working and working and working. And
Yeah.
what ends up happening, I'm trying to remember, it was like 3, actually, it would have been about 3 years ago, roughly. I decided to make a random different offer than I had before. And I had several people who had been on my list that I had real conversations with, and they just weren't ready for whatever reason. And so I had what I call my short list of possible hot prospects. Whatever reason, some people they didn't have the money, some people timing wasn't right, some people weren't sure that they necessarily needed, but I had about 12 people, somewhere right around there. That these are the people I'm like, they'll do business with me if the situation is really the right situation. And
Yeah.
so I'd already been nurturing these people for months because of my list, my automation. So
Yeah.
I'm building the relationship, I'm building the trust, I'm building the knowledge, I'm building the reputation. And then I sent out one email that says, hey, I have something new. I'm thinking about putting this, but it's going to be to a very few number of people because I can only take so many clients for this. The situation is this. You are on this list. There's only less than a dozen of you that I feel are a good fit for this particular thing. I recorded a video, go watch the video, and then just reply back, let me know what you think, and we can have another conversation. So I recorded a short video. It actually ended up longer than I wanted. It was like 12 minutes, I think. But it was a video walking through what this looked like. And I said in the video, just so you know, this didn't go out to everybody. This went out to a small list. It was like 10, 12 people, and you were on that list. And the reason is because you're somebody I had a great conversation with. I want to work with you. Whatever the reason was, the timing wasn't right before. This is something new. I want to run it by you. This is how it's going to work. If this sounds good, hit reply back to whatever email, direct message, whatever it is, and let me know that you're in, and we can just jump on a call and talk about it. I got
Amazing.
3 clients like that,
Wow. Yeah.
but I'd already nurtured the list.
Yeah.
That's the thing is there's a phrase in the internet marketing space, the money's in the list. And it's not right. It's not true. The money is in your relationship with the list.
Yeah.
That's the
Mm,
power. And
yeah.
that's the significance.
I hope that somebody listening hears that. One, nurture, have a conversation, provide value. And two, like that is a master class right there. What you just said, the timing is not right for whatever reason, but I've been nurturing them. I want to run something by them. Let's see if this timing is right. And the
Yeah.
timing was right. I hope somebody hears that because I know I heard that because I'm recording it, but also I'm thinking about it myself. Right. But
Yeah.
I hope that somebody hears that and thinks, okay, am I having that conversation? Am I nurturing them? And okay, maybe I am. How can I how can I re-enter that conversation, help them think about it? Because maybe they're out on the sidelines thinking, yeah, maybe I am starting to be ready for that, And kind of part of that is like you got to ask, right? And so that is absolutely fantastic. Yeah, that is wonderful. Oh man, I'm starting to think of that. I'm starting to think of all these things now of what needs to be done. Well, Eli,
Yeah.
we're getting close to the end of our time, but what does it look like if somebody is thinking, you know what, I don't know if I don't know if I'm doing that. I don't know if I don't know if I'm doing my
Mm,
emails right. I don't
yeah.
even think I'm doing emails. What does it look like to work with you? What should some of the things that they should be thinking of to work with you, and what does that look like?
Okay. Yeah. So there's a couple of different ways that I work with clients. I do have a coaching program for people who are more done for you, but still want the hand holding. Then I also have my done for you type of services. What I'm doing a ton right now is actually full on ghostwriting for clients.
Ooh,
So I'm actually writing for them as them. Something I've done in bits and pieces for probably 15 years.
wow.
But I'm actually doing this very specific, and I've put together a 3-phase system that I do, which is pretty awesome because there's 3 pieces to this. Number 1 is you have to have a lead magnet. You have to have the thing for people to sign up to get on your
Yeah.
list. And I'm doing what I call an educational email course, which is just rocking right now.
Ooh,
I have done a ton of different types of lead magnet processes, and I've had a couple that I've been staples for literally a decade, but this is outperforming everything else, and I love it. It's super cool, and people are loving it. They are like rabid dogs with it, which is cool. So I help people with that piece to begin with. It's a 5-day email course, basically helping them to, number 1, get their prospects to get value. So give away, like, here's the mistake you're making and here's how you fix it. But then
mm,
on top of that, it's educating them and training them on your framework and your methodology and what it's like to work with you at the same time. So by the time they
uh,
actually have a conversation, they're mostly pre-sold. They've already gotten value. They've already
yeah.
seen what needs to happen. At your point, it's like, okay, this is cool, but I ain't gonna figure it out on my own. How much is it gonna cost me for you to do it for me?
Yeah.
That's the cool part about it. Then the second thing is the ultimate follow-up, which is my cut down version of my 3-year campaign. It's generally 12 to 15 months where I basically help you get all that information out of your head. And then I write it for you. We get it all ready to go. So it can go in, you can put it in whatever CRM you have. And then the third phase is actually the lead generation piece, which is being a guest on podcasts. And so I actually coach clients on how to be a great guest and go through that process, help them with their story, help them how to know how to communicate and talk with an interview style, not a speaker, because speakers are
Yeah.
horrible at this. They don't know how to shut up. And so how do you get good at being a guest? And then of course, how do you find shows? Which leads back to the opt-in, right? So how do we get
Yeah.
back to the original email course? And then now you have a machine that just runs. And
Mm,
so if somebody's interested in any of that kind of information and would like to know what that looks like, feel free to reach out to me. Easiest way to get a hold of me is connect with Ely.com, and it is ELY, not ELI. You do ELI, it's going to be some like real estate agent dude in Iowa or something like that. I think he's in Nebraska, if I remember correctly.
I was just pretty specific. Yeah.
Oh
It's gonna
yeah, I know
nail
he's a
them. Yeah.
commercial real estate dude in Nebraska, I think is what it was. I don't know if he still has it or not. I should go look to see if I need to snag it up. But
Yeah.
connect with Ely.com. You can even see right there is my educational email course is right there showing you here's the big 5 biggest mistakes people are making in their email marketing and how to fix them. But if somebody's interested in this stuff, just they can go there, they can get all my contact information, reach out to me and just say, hey, I heard you on Roger's show and I'd love to have a conversation and see how this looks because I love doing this stuff. I have so much fun with it. And the
Yeah.
results we're getting for clients, like people, I have one client who literally spent, I think she said 6 months trying to build her lead magnet piece, like her thing to get capture leads. And we got it done in a week.
Oh,
It
that's
was
awesome.
like, yeah.
Yeah.
So I love doing this stuff.
Yeah. No, well, it's palpable. You can definitely tell the joy that you get from talking about it and just, all the stuff that you're saying and thinking like that's absolutely just great advice. I mean,
Thank you.
this is a podcast, right? But that was a master class in email marketing. So if you have any questions or if you're like, yes, Eli, I need that, I will have all of Eli's links in the description of the podcast. So definitely reach out to Eli because he's definitely a cool person and he is ready and willing to help you with your email marketing so that you too can get hit by a bus and still sell for three. No, Eli, thanks so much for coming out today. I really do appreciate you just sharing, oh man, all of that wisdom. And I mean, again, I know I've said it like 4 times already, but that was a masterclass. I don't think a lot of people think a lot about email marketing. I mean, you get something, I know the statistic is something, it's like for every dollar you spend in email marketing or something like that, it's like you get $38 back from every dollar you spend or something like
If
that.
you do
There's
it
like that
right,
return on. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's
So
the key.
that's
You got to do it
fantastic.
right.
Yes. So if you want to do your email marketing right, please do not forget to reach out to Eli. Eli, thank you so much for coming out today. I really appreciate that.
Thank you, my friend. I appreciate you having me on here and anytime.